This week on Half Step Down, Renee and I take a trip down memory lane when we talk about albums that changed our lives. Why? Because why the hell not? It's our show. Anyway, you know what you should do? Is check out halfstepdownpod.com. It is your one-stop Half Step Down shop. You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We are at halfstepdownpod. Make sure you check out the links in the link tree. It's in the description of our social media. And sit tight for a pretty cool episode. It was a lot of fun to talk about some of these cool albums. Some surprises probably in there. Well, let's be real. Probably not. But you're going to have a good time anyway. It's a fun show. We had a lot of fun making it. We hope you enjoy it. Half Step Down starts now. Water is great.
Do you remember when I used to tell you that Kaiser Permanente Sunset had the best water?
I remember you saying something
Or
about
was
that.
it lemonade? It was the lemonade.
Was it lemonade?
Remember because of the Starbucks downstairs?
Oh,
You would come see me every day, right?
Yeah.
And then you always get a coffee and you give me a lemonade.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, dude, this is the best lemonade ever. Come to find out it was just Minute Maid.
There you go.
I was like, wow, okay, well,
Minute Maid's good stuff.
Minute Maid's good stuff, but I kind of thought like Starbucks had like infused their lemonade. I thought it was the next best,
Like Tivana lemonade or
like
some
the
shit.
next
Yeah.
big thing or some shit. But it is what it is. Welcome everyone to Half Step Down, where two aging punk rockers talk punk rock, pop culture, punk culture, and pop rocks. We are your hosts, the original face for radio, or is it original face of radio? What do I say?
I think it's the original face of radio.
Oh, okay, the original face of radio, Renee Grano, and the heel of the Half Step Down podcast, Jose, the other one, Martinez. How are you today?
I'm not bad, man. I'm not doing bad at all.
I like the generic better. Can I do that again?
You can go back to the generic. I'm okay with it.
The heel of the Half Step Down podcast, Jose, the generic Martinez. I'll fix it later.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll get it.
We'll get into it later.
We'll get it in post.
Yeah, we'll get into it later. We are now. It's a new day. We are at this point in time. We finally ate.
Right? Yeah.
I think we have established that we should eat before we do these.
We
things.
should definitely eat before we do these things. Although, who would know? Seamless.
Seamless.
Without seams.
So
Sans seams.
So if you literally have no seams, does that literally mean that things are seamless?
Where's that from?
I don't know. I'm just making it up.
That's pretty good.
Thank you. That literally means that it's seamless if there's no seams on there. Jose?
Yep.
You want to talk about something that changed our lives?
Talk about something that changed your lives.
Well, here at the Half Step Down podcast, we are a show about music, right? At its core. That's what we started as. And I like to think that's kind of where we stick to, right?
We try to come back
We try to come back to music as much as we can. And I feel like we've done pretty well over the last few weeks, right?
Not bad, yeah.
So, and I think it's pretty good that we've talked about concerts that we love to go to, which will there be a sequel to.
Right.
We've talked about metal. We've talked about pro wrestling and the music of pro wrestling
All right.
at some point in time in your Pro Wrestling 401 at AP class.
401, yeah. 401B.
But let's talk about something that's very near and dear to us, which are albums that changed our lives.
Yes.
So I think one more time, I didn't hear that.
Yes.
Okay. So I think we're gonna do a two-parter for this. I like that idea. I think we're gonna do. Let's talk about 3 records that changed my life when I was young, and we'll talk about 3 records that changed your life later on in life, and then we'll come back for a part 2 and we'll swap.
I like that.
Does that sound like a good idea?
That sounds like a good idea.
Since it is our show.
It is our show. We do whatever we want.
It is a free podcast. So for our audience, Steve, Marta, Jeff, Shayla,
David.
You're going to get a part 2.
There he is. There it is.
I'm going to talk about the first one, Green Day Dookie.
Classic.
Changed my life.
Classic. Changed my life too.
This coincides with my other record. The other one I will be talking about in a bit. But Jose, Dookie, and the other album that I'll be talking about in a second is 2 albums that were purchased for me at the same time. And I remember specifically listening to Dookie on my portable CD player with my headphones,
Yeah.
hitting play, and just smiling. Because up until that point, I didn't really understand what punk rock was, right?
Okay.
And Jose, that album to me, man, is just one of those records. I'm like, dude, this is utterly amazing.
All right. All right.
That album has influenced me into wanting to just be in a punk band. Like, I wanted to be in music. I wanted to play music. Let alone, I was playing guitar already by that time, but I was mostly just playing like acoustic stuff, learning, bits and pieces, not really learning how to play music, like songs.
Right.
And that this is one of the first records that really probably got me to be like, I want to be in a punk band. Whether you decide it's punk rock or pop punk, whatever it might be, or the big umbrella of punk rock, like this is a punk rock record, right?
Right.
In its core. So, yeah, this album is great, man. I actually just, in preparation for this episode, I was listening to it last night, and I got to tell you, man, I still have those same emotions when I listen to that album.
So truth be told, Green Day's Dookie is the first album I ever bought. It's the first album I ever said, I want this one.
Yeah.
And I gave my mom money.
Oh, so you bought it.
I recall either it was like I got money, but I remember telling my mom, can you buy it for me? And she's like, I will go to the record store after work. But I remember the story because her boss, she couldn't make it, and he's like, I'll go because I'm going to go to the record. He was going to go buy something. And he came back because he was like, this is like adult music. Because I went to the kids section to try to buy this Green Day. This is like a record. And my mom was like, it is. And then I remember she brought it home. And I remember the reason I wanted it is because Basket Case, the video was on MTV.
Yeah.
And that, watching Trey Cool play the drums made me want to play the drums.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that video and thinking like, before that, my cousin Brenda had gotten me into like New Wave, Depeche Mode, The Smiths, New Order, and I loved all that stuff. But when I saw Green Day for the first time and I watched that video, I'm like, oh my God, I want to do that. So it was literally like my introduction to the world of it's like my second introduction into the world of music, because I had the 80s kind of stuff that I love, but it was like the first thing that I found that I thought like, oh, it's me. I like this.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there. That is also, Dookie's also a record that introduced me to the style of music that I love.
Yeah.
A music that I was like, dude, this is it. Like, this is the music I like. Because I think, to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, you were the one that told me that every person's first wallet is always a gift.
Right.
Right? Because nobody goes and buys their first wallet. Someone always gives you your first wallet.
Yeah,
right?
it's kind of like a rite of passage.
Yeah, like a rite of passage. So as you grow up, Jose, like you said, right, Brenda introduced you to New Wave. I was introduced to hip hop and to pop music, like the Beatles, right? Like pop rock music, right? Mm-hmm. And I listened to a lot of Spanish music growing up because that's what my sisters and my mom and my dad listened to. This was definitely the first album, with the second one I'm about to introduce, the first two albums that I thought to myself, just like you said, this is what I am.
It's like, this is for me.
Yeah, this is for me.
Now, the ironic thing is, us and about 10 million other kids.
Yeah.
But it was a big deal. It was like, oh my God, it was like the way they played, the way they looked. Yeah, man, it was a big deal for me, and I still love this record.
Going back to, if you guys haven't heard it, please go back and listen to our, unless it's airing after or before, I'm not 100% sure, but the episode where we talk about concert stories, right? The first part one of concert stories, where we talk about how I forgot who you said was talking about it. Where Green Day and Good Charlotte and them, they didn't sell out. They just had the style of music that they played is just what was popular at that time.
I was talking. It was a clip from a documentary. I don't remember from where, but it was Fat Mike for NoFX.
Fat Mike, there you go. Yes.
Who was saying that Green Day, Blink-182, all these bands, they didn't sell out. It's just that the music they made got popular all of a sudden.
Yeah.
We talked about this a couple episodes ago, where it's like God, I kind of lost my train of thought there. But we
Fat
talked
Mike,
about
Fat Mike, NoFX, Green Day. They didn't sell out. That was just popular.
Yeah, it was something. My thought process was something along the lines of like, you really have no idea of what's going to be. Oh, we were talking about how Nirvana, right? Or maybe we were talking to Jeff on the phone.
Yeah,
where it's like
we actually didn't have this conversation.
We didn't have
on
this
air.
conversation, but we were talking to Jeff.
Actually, that
one
would have
of
been
our
a good
fans.
conversation to have on air.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But he was talking about how it's like we're talking about Nirvana. He was saying they were overrated.
Yes.
Or he feels they're overrated.
Yes.
And
he feels they're the most overrated band of all time.
yeah, he was coming back on
The Kiss thing.
the Kiss thing, which God, just let it go,
Let
man.
it
It was
go, Jeff.
it was a funny thing, and we
Yes.
just let it go.
Let it go.
And
How
I
long
told
has it been since that episode? Since
that was
episode is aired?
months.
And you're
months.
still on it, dude. Still on it.
And here's the thing about Nirvana. I love Nirvana. I don't think they're overrated, but I understand why people think that.
Uh-huh.
Because there certainly is a cult around Kurt Cobain and all that.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is like, they didn't think they were going to be that popular, right? They just wrote this record, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh, there's been a movement slowly growing towards that forever. And the same thing with Green Day, right? Like, there have been bands that sound like Green Day going back into the 80s.
Yep.
It's just for whatever reason, it's the same thing, right? Like, sometimes lightning strikes and you don't know why.
Yep.
It doesn't take anything away from this record. It's a classic. But it's just one of those things. Like, I'm sure Green Day didn't think. Before this, they were squatting in vans in, like, Berkeley, right?
Yeah. I think I don't think Nirvana was overrated as much as people probably are just tired of Nirvana.
I think we're getting to a point in time where it's going to become a thing where, oh, my parents listen to Nirvana.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to like it.
Yeah.
And then it's just like all cyclical, right?
Yeah. Because it just wasn't them that were coming out of the scene, right?
Right.
You had Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, the Melvins. Like, you had so many bands that were coming out from that scene from the Pacific Northwest. Nirvana just happened to hit it correctly at the right time, at the right moment. Doesn't mean that Pearl Jam wasn't around. They blew up just as well, But
Yeah.
it just, they blew up quicker, right? It was faster. But I remember in high school, I had a buddy who was obsessed with Nirvana. He loved Nirvana. He's like, In Utero is my favorite record. Bleach is up. I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I think to myself, I was like, bro, like, I'm kind of tired of the Nirvana thing. Because I was just around people who love them so much.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, though. I get it. I think Nevermind is a great record, So, I don't know. Another one of my favorite albums that changed my life was Dude Ranch by Blink-182. Now,
I'm going to... so my buddy David hates the fact that Green Day and Blink-182 get thrown into the same category.
that Green Day and Blink-182
Yeah.
do? Well, it's two different styles of punk rock.
But a lot of people will talk about Green Day and be like, oh, well, they were the pop punk band that blew everything up. And he's like, I hate that Blink-182 and Green Day get labeled under that
Labeled
same.
under pop punk? Mm-hmm. Why is that?
He just, I think it's just an annoyance that Blink-182 was such a kind of like a sophomoric kind of like high school band.
Yeah.
And he always talks about, he's like, Green Day were squatting in Berkeley.
Yeah.
While Blink-182 were in line at Taco Bell in La Jolla. It's just a very different, like, upbringing. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's like, like the Dickies, they're a classic punk band. Those are rich kids. The Strokes are rich kids. He was like, it's just something I got to get over, but he hates that they get lumped together.
Oh, that they get lumped?
Yeah.
Just because of the dues that they paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, they paid different dues.
Yeah.
So, Dude Ranch, I was actually introduced to Dude Ranch by accident. I was on my way to pick up Enema of the State by Blink-182.
Ah, okay.
And when I saw the cover, which was of the model that was on the cover, I was like, there's no way they're going to let me buy this record. Like, there's no way my sister, my mom, whoever was going to buy it for me is going to let me buy this record. Mm-hmm. So I went for the next best thing. There was another Blink-182 album there, and it said Dude Ranch.
Okay.
I was like, sure, I guess they'll let me buy this. And they let me buy it. And it was all by accident, dude. I heard I remember hearing that album, had the exact same expression as I did when I listened to Dookie. And I was like, this is awesome. I loved it. Like, I was obsessed with Dude Ranch for a very long time. Granted, I think it was maybe 5th or 6th grade when that album came out. But I was so excited when that album came out. That was a big deal for me. I loved it. I was probably a little older, actually, because I know when the state was out. So, yeah. He's 7th grade, 6th or 7th grade. Yeah.
Yeah. When were you in 6th and 7th? I was in 7th grade when Dude Ranch came out.
No, I'm saying, no. When Enema of the State was released, I couldn't buy that. So I ended up buying Dude Ranch.
Okay.
So I was probably...
Yeah, I remember Dude Ranch. I loved Dude Ranch when I was in like in middle school.
Yeah.
In high school. Something about that record. And I still like it. I don't... It's one of those records that I like, but I'm never like, I'm going to go put that on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. A lot of those other ones, I mean, there are some songs on there like Pathetic. Those are some of their speedier.
Yeah, Josie.
Yeah.
Pathetic. Even A New Hope, man, which is a Star Wars song.
That's true.
You know?
I actually recently saw footage from Blink-182 right when Travis Barker joined the band at a MTV Beach House party, and they played Pathetic. And it must have been... I pulled it up here. The song is 2 minutes and 28 seconds. They must have played it like 2 minutes 10.
Yeah.
Because fucking Travis Barker was fucking just...
Yeah.
And that's a fast song anyway.
That's a very fast song.
And like you just watch like everyone in the band going like, "Fuck, dude, what is going on?" You're like, "Jesus, fucking
bro,
Christ."
relax.
Yeah.
He's such an amazing drummer too, dude. Travis
He is,
Barker.
man. I wonder how long he's gonna keep it up, man. He's such a physical player.
Yeah.
What was it? He was saying that Max Weinberg told him like, "Dude, you need to relearn how you play drums, or you're not gonna be able to play."
Because he plays so hard.
Because he plays so hard, and like, dude, everything about the way he plays, like, his cymbals are all up super fucking high, and he has to like move his like, it's like, fuck, dude, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
I feel like as a drummer, I recently had to just really sit down with my kit and be like, let's ergonomics this shit, because like I got the carpal tunnel and shit.
So what did you do to make it easier for you?
Basically, just figured out ways where it's like, maybe angle the toms a little bit easier so that I don't have to move my hand like as high. Make sure that cymbals are within reach. And then for the reality of the situation is kind of make that easier so that everything is like an even thing, so I don't have to like bend my wrists as much or whatever. But it really just came down to I just need to practice technique a lot.
Are you rocking the 4-piece or the 5-piece?
I have a 4-piece right now.
Do you have a stand for your tom, or is it on the?
It's on. It shares a stand with the crash cymbal that's right there.
Oh, nice.
I've tried my best because the band I'm in, we have a gig coming up in October, and when COVID started, we had just kind of gotten the ball rolling. We had played a bar in Pomona. We had lined up another gig, but everything got shut down. Making my drum set as easy to move as possible, because I have a weird my Ludwig kit. It's a 22 by 20 inch bass drum. It's fucking massive.
Yeah, it's big.
My floor tom is an 18 inch by 16 inch, which doesn't sound that big because normal is 16 by 16. But an 18 inch tom or floor tom and a big ass bass drum takes up some space. So I'm like trying my best to get as much stuff consolidated as possible. Now I really like the way it's set up because I've only got 2 cymbal stands, my hi-hat, and I still manage to have like 5 cymbals. So it's pretty good.
Oh, solid.
Yeah.
Nice. When are you guys playing again? October?
We're playing a party in October, yes.
Nice. I don't think I've ever seen you guys play.
No, I don't think you've ever made it out to one of our shows.
I'm gonna have to now. I'm gonna have to step up my game. That'd be a good one.
It's a good one. You got to tune in to one of the live streams, the Pen Caps we play.
Oh,
that's a different band. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You and Dave?
Me and Dave, yeah.
Yeah. What does Dave play?
He plays bass and guitar.
Oh, solid.
So on the Pen Caps, he plays guitar.
Oh, I didn't know that. The Pen Caps. That's the name of
Pen
the
Caps.
Is it just you two?
It's just me, and then our buddy Frank will jump in on bass sometimes.
Nice. What do you guys play? Like your own stuff or covers?
No, it's all just covers.
Nice.
The Pen Caps is more punk rock stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and Ape at Apes, the other band, is more like K-Rock, Social D, Depeche Mode, stuff like that.
Nice.
It's fun, man. Just get
Yeah.
out there and play.
That's cool. I've been wanting to. I have this thing, and I'm guilty as charged too, where every time you try to jam with somebody, it always turns up into somebody's like, "Oh, dude, this is the band." Like, no, I'm just here to jam.
Yeah.
And guilty as charged, man. I think when you find somebody, it's like, wow, he's pretty good, and you kind of feel like you're just meshing. And someone says, "Oh, dude, we should start." Like, I'm just here to jam. I'm just here to jam.
Mm-hmm.
But then next is like, bro, we got a gig in 2 months. Like, no, I'm just here to hang out with you. We're just here to play some songs.
Joining a band is a big deal, man. It's a
Yeah.
big commitment. It takes
Very
a lot
big
of time.
commitment.
So that's why like I at least tend to be really careful about it. Like I limit it to what I can
Yeah,
because it gets hard, man. And
that's what she said.
yeah, that's a good one.
That's what she said again.
What's your number? What's your number 3? I think we're doing 3 each, right?
Oh, we're still on that?
Yeah, we were just this is
Oh,
all
wow,
Dude
we
Ranch.
were kind of just doing our
we
thing.
did our thing on Dude Ranch, man.
that's
But
cool.
no,
yeah, sorry.
no.
So in 7th or 8th grade, there was an album that was released called, I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's by a small band, System of a Down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Toxicity.
Oh, that poor fucking album didn't go anywhere.
Oh, dude, I wish people knew what that album was. I wish more people gave that album a shot.
I don't think enough people. I mean, what do you want the world? What do you want the world? What do you want disorder?
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
You
I
brought that.
slugged
You
that
brought
one
that in. Yeah, you said that's what she said. Toxicity, man, was a introduction to would you say metal? Somewhat metal. What would you say? Hard rock.
Metal, I guess.
Metal?
I mean, it falls somewhat. They came out around the same time as the new metal,
Yeah.
and there are elements of that, but they never really rapped. I mean, the reality of the situation is System of a Down. That first album with the hand on it.
Yeah.
I listened to the shit out of that one.
Yeah.
And Toxicity too, man. Like that fucking record took over the world.
Dude, over the world. It was to the point where that record was I recorded it on a tape, and on that tape I took it with me. I had a version of Toxicity, the first album and Toxicity. I had a copy of both those records on tape in every car.
Oh, man.
Like in my mom's car, my dad's car. I was obsessed with those 2 records. Toxicity was an introduction to a different style of music that I wasn't accustomed to. And I was so happy that I did, because even till this day, those first 2 albums are awesome. I know a lot of people say like Mesmerize and Hypnotize are amazing. I never got around to them. I think I was just stuck in my first 2 album days. Like it just, something about Toxicity just kind of brings some sort of nostalgia to me, because it was just so good. It really was.
I want to say that's one of those albums that came out before. I want to say after that, new metal became like a joke.
Yeah.
Because I think it was just kind of like it started reaching that point, and they were like the last band to come out that was associated with that scene to be like, all right, look, we're gonna go in a different direction and just kind of do our own thing, and it worked, man. That's a classic album, man. System of a Down is just a great band.
They really are.
They really are. I
Yeah.
mean, they're fucking. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like they take a familiar formula and then they really do turn it on its head. Surge is their singer, right?
Yes.
His vocal style is so unique
Yeah.
that it's kind of like you can never fucking replicate it.
Yeah.
Like, or if you do, it's like that's what you're trying to do. It's
Yeah.
like that Legend of Zelda thing.
I agree. What is have you ever heard of Scars on Broadway?
Yeah, that's the guitar players.
Yeah. The last album that they came out with, I think he said that he was waiting for System of a Down. He was like, this album's supposed to be a System of a Down album, but it never came to fruition. So he's just like, I'm gonna release it as Scars on Broadway record.
There's like some infighting between those guys, right? Like I know
between Surge and the rest of the band.
Yeah. Well,
But
I know
I think they got back together though, because they released a single last year. Like
they
2 singles.
they tour and they play a lot, but I think they have a hard time writing.
Yeah.
I know,
Because
like
I think Surge wants it to take a different direction.
yeah.
And they're like, well, that's not System. Like, we want it. Yeah.
Well, I know that the drummer and Surge are like on opposite ends of the spectrum politically.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
really?
they've
I didn't
gotten
know
a
that.
huge. Yeah, the drummer for System is a huge Trump guy,
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
and Surge is not.
Interesting.
And it's a weird, and I think
And
there's
it's funny to base your band on it's essentially
they're a political
They're
band.
a political band.
They don't
So,
shy away from that, but
yeah.
it's been, I know that's been a point of contention. I think I've read interviews that like they'll get in to try to write something and they just get into arguments and shit,
Really?
which must be hard. I mean, the Ramones went through the same thing. Like Joey Ramone and Johnny Ramones were on opposite ends of the end politically, and I don't think Joey Ramone ever got over the fact that Johnny Ramone married the love of his life.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think that was always like a thing they talked about. Like it bugged him till the day he died, and then should we pause?
No, we're good.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
It bugged him till he died, and then I think I don't think Johnny ever felt bad about it, but it was never addressed because like in documentaries it says, yeah, we never really talked about it. But yeah, he ended up marrying
Interesting.
that song, the KKK Took My Baby Away, was the legend is that Joey Ramone wrote it about Johnny Ramone.
Which is the one that's buried at Santa Monica Cemetery?
Joey, I think.
Joey.
No, Johnny.
Is it Johnny?
Yeah.
They have a big statue of him and everything.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
It's pretty rad. I've been there. I went there for Dia de los Muertos once. It's pretty cool. They sell booze and stuff. You can hang around.
Yeah.
And they have like the Joy. Is Joy?
Johnny.
The
Johnny
Johnny Ramone one. Yeah, that's a good one. Jose, what about you, man? Do you have any particular albums you want to talk
So there are 3 albums that came out. I'm gonna go post 2000s.
about? Okay.
That I'll talk about that I really kind of like. For me, you know, punk rock was my thing all through high school. Still is my thing. But around 2000s, all my punk rock friends had kind of gone away. Like they'd moved away, or they were like in college, or they joined the military, whatever it might be.
Sure.
So I was just kind of looking around, seeing stuff. But the first album that really got me was Coheed and Cambria's and Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth Part 3. Or
I
whatever.
love that album.
I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but hearing a Favorite House Atlantic for the first time on MTV2,
Yeah.
like at 2 a.m, while I was trying to play like WoW or some shit, and was just kind of like, the fuck is this? Sucks. Like well, the first time I heard Claudio Sanchez's voice, I'm like, dude, this fucking guy, what is this shit?
You know, it's so funny. That's exactly how I thought of. That's what I thought about Claudio Sanchez on that band when I first heard it.
Especially that song.
Yep.
Because that first line he belts out is so high and weird. But what ended up happening
That might
was
be one of my favorite songs too.
that's a great song.
Yeah, it's a great song.
What happened was the melody was so fucking infectious.
Yep.
And on top of it just being an infectious melody, most of that song is just leads.
Yep.
Like there's the riff and then there's just the lead part. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, fuck, dude, the melody's pretty good. And that riff's pretty good.
Yeah.
Let me give these guys a shot. I go out, I buy the record. No, I didn't buy the record first. I looked them up.
Yeah.
I think I went on Ask Jeeves. I looked it up. Just
Nice,
kidding.
nice name drop. Did you ask Jeeves what was the name of that album?
I asked him. And it torn back, put out Netscape Navigator, and I got to where I was going. No, I looked them up online.
I tried to, but I couldn't because my net zero time was running.
Net Zero Time was running. This is 2004, man. I was past that. I shouldn't have gone with that. Should have gone with something different.
Google.
I could have used Google or Yahoo.
You could have said Yahoo.
I got to hit Yahoo. Would have been better.
Do people even use Yahoo?
Oh yeah.
Like if it's not fantasy, like if they're not used for fantasy sports.
I have a Yahoo spam account.
Well, I mean, like email. I'm talking about the search engine. I don't think so, right?
No, I think they use. I think people use it for email and like weather and stuff.
Yeah.
And news. I don't know. Every once in a while I'll download something and or I'll use a different computer and I'll just type in a search thinking it's Google and I'm like, Bing, the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And that's been internet moment for a second. Anyway, so I looked them up and I'm like, okay, these guys write songs about a galactic war and they write comic books. I'm sold. And from that point on, it's been since 2004 when that record came out.
Yeah.
I've been a fan. I went to see them on that tour, and I've been to them every tour they've come around.
I saw them I didn't get I didn't listen to Coheed until the late 2000s. Is when I was like, dude, what the hell? Because in high school, I was like, dude, this is whiny. Like, that dude's insane. That dude, But I'll never forget, as the little group of guitar players in my scene that at school would always talk about how good Claudio Sanchez was. I was like, yeah, he's great. Like, he's great, but I never wanted to listen to Coheed. And then same idea. Come to find out that the Amory Wars were written by Claudio Sanchez. I was like, dude, is that the same guy? And then that's when I looked it up and I said, wow, this is a thing. And then that's when I heard, I think I heard Good Apollo and In Keeping Secrets of Southern Earth. Those are the first two records that I listened to, and I was like, this is amazing. Yeah. So I've seen them a handful of times. I think most of the times I've seen them with you, but I've seen them a handful of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
I
a
think
great
I saw
band.
them once with, I think Marcus and I went to go see them once. Paul and I went to see them once. Yeah, it was pretty great. Yeah. I got him into listening to Coheed.
Yeah.
He loves them. Yeah.
Great fucking live band too.
Great band. Probably one of the greatest live bands I've seen in a long time, dude. They put on a fucking show.
They fucking bring
and they never
it, man.
stop.
Yeah. It is an intense just the musicianship, and then they have a really good mix of, because they're not that big a band.
Yeah.
So they have a mix of like production with like the stage show, mixed with like that kind of punk rock attitude of like it's not too much lights and fire and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like
man.
Kiss.
Like Kiss.
Yeah.
Or, I'll be honest, like the next band I'm going to talk about. Like a lot of people for a short while, and I'm still a big fan, the band Ghost.
Yeah. Jeff loves Ghost.
Dude, Infestasium, I think I'm saying that right. It's their second record. So I remember a lot of people, this might have been like 5 years ago, where they were like, dude, you need to listen to Ghost. You need to listen to Ghost.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, dude, I'll get around to it at some point. And I know, dude, it's fucking legit. So finally, I download their first record. There's something about this band that is like, it's almost kind of like they're almost kind of scary with like black and death metal, right?
Yeah.
So for those of you guys, there's a whole like mystique around the band. Are you familiar with like the persona of the band?
Yeah, because Jeff explains it to me.
Yeah. So for our listeners who don't know what Ghost is, there's a the band Ghost. There's a lead singer who calls himself, I think now his name changes, but it's Papa Emeritus, and he's basically a satanic pope. So he's dressed like the Pope, but like a Satan version of Pope. And then every other member of the band wears a mask, a la kind of like Eyes Wide Shut. And they're called Nameless Ghouls. So they're just these 4 masked people and this guy that looks like a satanic pope. And it's fucking visually really fucking like, it's freaky. If you grew up Catholic, that's just like a weird thing.
Yeah.
Their stage show is like, it's like stained glass, there's fire, there's a whole fucking thing. But every album, there's like a story behind why the singer changes. When the fucking singer first started, he was like super old and acted decrepit, and he gets younger and younger and younger, and now it's like a different guy. And there's like a whole story behind it. So it's fucking weird. But just the way they write, their riffs, their melodies, they're in these weird scales where it's like just evil sounding, and it's way more evil sounding for me than like the black metal shit.
Interesting.
Because the black metal shit, like at this point, it's so overblown that it's like, oh fuck, like weird. So there's something about them. They find a way to mix this kind of like dark, like musicianship with sometimes even dancey pop music. That's fucking weird. My favorite description of them there would be like if Black Sabbath and ABBA had a baby, it would be Ghost. So I highly recommend that one.
Interesting. Which album are you recommending? The first one or the second one?
You know, dude, I would say Infestasium is their second one. That's a really good one. Although their third one, Meliora, is fucking awesome too.
Okay.
Their first 3 albums are amazing. Their
So
last one,
what kind of music do you recommend? What kind of music do you think they are?
dude, they're metal, but they're like a Sabbathy type metal.
Okay.
They're not super fast or like heavy. There's just something about their riffs that are
Just intrigue you.
they're just intriguing, and
Yeah,
they're very Ghost.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that I went to see them live a couple years ago, and that dude is like a showman, man.
Awesome.
That's the other thing about him. He would never say who he was. Like the singer would always be like, "I'm Papa Emeritus." Everyone knew who he was, but he kept that up for a long, long time.
There's the singer for the Wonders. He does a side project called Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties, and Aaron West is the Roaring Twenties. It's a character that he created, that he plays on stage, and it's called Aaron West. And it's these 2 albums that he made are basically just a story of what's going on in his life at the time. And apparently, I never seen the Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties live, but I've seen like shows and stuff on YouTube, live performances, and he acts it as his character, and he says that the concert, the shows themselves, the live shows, and the albums all coincide with each other. So what he says is the last album that they were supposed to come out with, which is already done, it's actually being postponed because he needs to have these performances because they're going to introduce the sister in the band. So like his sister, who is played by this other musician, this girl, this friend of his, is going to be playing, I think, piano or something like that. But the only way they're going to release it is when they introduce her in the band. So it's kind of like
that's exactly like because in Ghost, like the next Pope or whatever, will be introduced in a live show.
Yes, and that's how the next album gets released, right?
And it's fucking weird. And there's something about that I think part of me thinks that's corny as hell. But I also am now at a point where it's like, I mean, you've got to do something to differentiate yourself now.
I agree.
Because fuck, dude, like, I think a lot about, we've talked about lo-fi.
Yeah.
Right? There's this guy, I think the artist I think is called Purple Cat.
Uh-huh.
And I like some of his stuff. I think he's released like 6 albums this year. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So you've got to do something to differentiate yourself.
Yeah.
Especially like for a while. That's the one thing about punk rock that I think is kind of shitty is for a while, like, we're a punk band, so we don't really rehearse and we don't really put much effort into what we're doing. I'm like, we're just really loud and play really fast. We'll be okay. I always think back to Cheech and Chong. Come on, man, it's just punk rock. You don't even know how to play. You just got to be a punk. We can do that.
Yeah. Was that an Up in Smoke? That wasn't Up in Smoke.
No, that was an Up in Smoke. What was that?
No.
What was the second one called?
Still Smoking?
Still Smoking? I think it was Still Smoking.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, man, a lot of the Cheech and Chong stuff it all melded together into one movie in my brain.
Same here.
It just like, fuck, dude. Like,
same here. I just remember when he starts calling everybody pendejos.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all flipped. I was like, what movie was that? Which one was that? Like, I don't remember which one that was.
The one, this one was Up in Smoke. The one where he's like, what's your name? And he's like, doesn't it say on my license? And he's like pointing at the thing.
Yeah.
But, oh, man.
Yeah. He said his name was Ralph. That's a good one. Yeah. How about your third? You got a third pick for us?
So my third one is a band that's more recent. They're a band called Mutoid Man, and the album is called Bleeder. If you want, like,
what kind of music is it?
It's like metal.
Okay.
But not. It's got some of that kind of growly, or not growly. It's got that like fast distorted guitars.
Uh huh.
Kind of like Motorhead style, but like heavier. But the singer doesn't do the growly thing.
Okay.
He has more of like a soulful voice. He does a really good. They do a great cover of what's that song? I'm just a soul whose intentions are good.
Oh,
what's that song? Yeah. They do a great cover on that album, and it's I highly recommend it, man. They're kind of they got really hot for a minute. They're on 2 Minutes to Late Night all the time.
Oh, okay, great.
That YouTube show. But I really love them, and they kind of reinvigorated my love of that kind of the genre.
Of the metal genre?
Of kind of like, yeah, just like a new, fresh band that's still playing like kind of fast, hard music.
That's great, man. When you can find bands that have been that kind of like reinvigorated like your love for the music.
Yeah.
Especially for the style of music that you're like, wow, man, like that's yeah. There's been a couple of bands out there like that have really got me really interested right now. Like I'm listening to a lot of this band called Free Throw, a band called Spanish Love Songs, which is they're actually LA based. Like those two bands right now have definitely got me wanting to listen to more, pop punk rock sort of stuff. Yeah, it's great.
For sure.
This is gonna be a short one, but I enjoy it.
No, it's good
because there's gonna be a part 2.
Yeah, there's gonna be a part 2.
There's gonna be a part 2. Because let's be honest, guys, we're a little tired today.
Yeah, should we let him know what's going on?
Of course not.
Okay, we're not gonna tell
We
him.
don't do that. Seamless. But do you have any aside from the albums that changed our lives? Do you have any recommendations that you want to kind of, out of anything that we're kind of listening to right now? Do you want to kind of throw that out there to the audience so maybe they can get some new music in their ears?
You know what I kind of threw back on? There's a band called Sad Girl out of LA. They're kind of like a rockabilly.
Oh, you mean rockabilly?
Kind of like rockabilly surf rock kind of band.
Yeah.
They do a great, and we talked about this in one of the old episodes. They do a great cover of Motor Breath by Metallica.
Okay.
Basically surf rock style. But check them out, man. I've been listening to a lot of them.
Oh, we've been talking about. That's when we talked about Dick Dale too, right?
I think
that was an episode of the podcast.
There was an episode of the podcast where we talked about the covers.
Yes.
When you need a good cover.
That's right.
And
everyone
they
should
were
go back and listen to that.
Just go back and listen to that, and then just kind of check out Sad Girl, man. They're great.
Awesome. I have a recommendation. Spanish Love Songs. Spanish Love Songs is a great record, a great band. There's an album that they came out called Brave Faces Everyone. I actually saw them open for, I think it was the Wonder Years. I want to say about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. And that's how I got introduced to them. So I've really been listening to a lot of, they just released something too this past year. I haven't gotten around to it, but Spanish Love Songs, definitely a good band. They've definitely caught my interest because I feel like the pop punk scene in general, not really pop punk, but like, yeah, that scene is just kind of dying out, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's good to see the evolution of what pop punk is, right? It's not just fast, loud music anymore. It's definitely taken a turn a bit, but I really enjoy. I think it's heading towards the right direction.
I've also been listening to Ninth and Walnut, the new Old Descendants album.
Oh, okay.
If you guys,
the one that came out last year.
No, it came out a couple weeks ago. Ninth and Walnut.
Didn't they just come out with one last year?
They came out with an album. They came out with an album like 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
It feels like we were just getting old.
That's true.
But this album was their lost album. It's the last. It was recorded in the early 2000s. It's songs from when they first started that didn't make it onto Milo Goes to College.
Oh, okay.
Or the songs that like they wrote leading up to Milo Goes to College. And it's the original Descendants lineup. So it's Bill.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's Tony and it's Frank.
That's awesome.
Rosetta, who died.
Yeah.
So you'll never have that original Descendants, and it's them. They had recorded it back in like 2000, and they just now during quarantine got Milo to put vocals back on it.
That's awesome.
So it's cool to watch them because it's like if you listen to really early Descendants, I think we've talked about this. It's like jangly surf rock, and you get to watch them become like a punk band.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Did you watch their Christmas special, the Christmas show? Was it them? No, it was
the Vandals.
The Vandals.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch it on the live stream?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we did.
That's awesome.
It's good times.
Yeah, it's good times. Why don't you guys go ahead and please, anybody who's listening, drop us a line at Half Step Down Pod on Twitter and Instagram, which Jose will be plugging in a second. But let us know, what are some of your favorite records? What are some records that change your life? Maybe even songs that change your lives. We should definitely do that.
Yeah.
Talk about songs that change your lives, because I know there's songs out there that just kind of just get engraved. And like, I Want to Hold Your Hand to me is one of those songs that just changed my life. So Jose, where can people find us on the internet?
Okay, here it is.
Is it?
Here it is.
Are you sure? Are you sure it's there?
You ready?
I feel like it's not there.
Here's where it is.
Okay.
If you want to find us
Okay.
on the internet, halfstepdownpod.com. It is your one-stop half-step-down shop. You get everything there. Episodes, social media, things, podcast stuff.
Jose's
it's all there.
exhausted. You can see it. He's tired.
You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We are at halfstepdownpod. Check out our Instagram stories for previews of our playlist. If you're on Facebook, go to facebook.com/halfstepdownpod. Look us up on YouTube. We are Half Step Down Pod. All you got to do is scroll down for about an hour and a half. Check out the Spotify playlist. The link is in the description. If you like what you hear, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Help spread the word using hashtag HalfStepDownPod or hashtag Road to 100. And then if you like the type of music we're talking about, stay tuned for Half Step Down Radio on TitanRadio.org coming in the fall. And the links to all this stuff are in our link tree, which is in the description of our bio.
Jose, this is a fun one.
It was a good one.
But I think we're done.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
Yeah, I think we're done here.
All right, guys.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Enjoy. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Yeah, give it up for these guys. I promise you guys.
Just so we're all clear, that was not like a real song. Okay.